Do narcissists feel guilty? The dark psychology. Most people discover too late. If you're waiting for a narcissist to feel guilty, what I'm about to tell you may completely change how you see them and why they almost never change. And stay with me until the end, because the last truth is the one most victims only realize after they've lost years of their life. Most people ask this question quietly, late at night, after another argument that somehow ended with them apologizing. Do narcissists feel guilty? Because if the answer were yes, then maybe there's hope. Maybe one day they'll understand. Maybe one day they'll finally say, "I'm sorry, I hurt you." But the reality is far more unsettling, and to understand it, we need to destroy a very dangerous illusion. Guilt is not shame, and confusing them is how people get trapped. Most people believe narcissists feel guilt deep down. They don't. What they feel is something else entirely. And mistaking one for the other is how people stay emotionally imprisoned for years. Here's the difference, and it's critical. Guilt says, "I did something wrong. I hurt someone. I need to repair this." Shame says, "Something is wrong with me. I look bad. I'm exposed." Healthy people feel guilt. Narcissists feel shame, and they will do anything to avoid it. If you've ever tried to calmly explain how you were hurt, only to be met with anger, defensiveness, or mockery, you've already seen this mechanism in action. As I explain this, notice something very carefully. Have you ever heard these words before? "You're too sensitive. You're exaggerating. That's not what happened. Why are you always making me the villain?" If you have, this video isn't theoretical, it's personal. What a narcissist actually feels when you confront a narcissist with harm they caused, you expect guilt. What you get instead is a sequence of reactions, almost mechanical. First, denial. That never happened. Then, minimization. It wasn't that bad. Then, reversal. You're the one hurting me right now. Then, victimhood. After everything I've done for you. And finally, contempt. I can't believe you're still stuck on this. Notice something chilling. Not once do they pause and say, "I see your pain," because acknowledging your pain would force them to confront shame. And shame is intolerable to a narcissistic psyche. This is why conversations with narcissists feel circular, why resolution never comes, why closure feels impossible. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Why true? Guilt threatens a narcissist's identity. A narcissist doesn't just dislike being wrong. Their entire identity is built on not being wrong. Admitting guilt would mean admitting imperfection, and imperfection feels like annihilation. So instead of guilt, the narcissistic mind asks a different question. Did this cost me anything? Did I lose admiration? Did I lose control? Did I lose access to supply? If the answer is no, there is no emotional response. This is why narcissists can hurt you deeply and sleep peacefully. And this is also why their apologies feel hollow. The narcissistic apology and why it feels wrong. Narcissists do apologize, but not because they feel guilty. They apologize to stop consequences, repair their image, regain access, reassert control. A typical narcissistic apology sounds like this: "I'm sorry you feel that way. I didn't mean it like that. I guess I'm just a terrible person then." These are not admissions of harm. They are maneuvers. And here's the trap. Because you do feel guilt, empathy, and hope, you project those feelings onto them. You think, if they apologized, maybe they understand now. But what they understand is leverage, and this leads to the most dangerous misunderstanding of all. The mistake that keeps people stuck. There is one mistake almost every victim makes. They believe that explaining better will awaken guilt. that if they use the right words, the right tone, the right moment, the narcissist will finally see. But the narcissist already sees. They just don't feel. And every time you explain, justify, soften, or plead, you are giving them information, your fears, your thresholds, your breaking points. This is not healing the relationship. It is training your abuser. And trying to make a narcissist feel guilty often makes the abuse worse. Here's why. Why pushing for guilt escalates the abuse. When you demand accountability from a narcissist, you threaten their false self. That threat triggers one of two responses: rage, explosive or cold, or withdrawal, silence, punishment, disappearance. Both are designed to restore dominance. And if you back down, if you apologize just to restore peace, the narcissist learns something crucial. Pressure works. This is how trauma bonds are reinforced. This is how cycles deepen. And this brings us to the moment that confuses people the most. The moment it looks like they feel guilty. There is a moment when narcissists appear guilty. It usually happens when they are about to lose you. They are exposed publicly. Their supply is threatened. They may cry, collapse, beg, promise change. But what's happening psychologically is not remorse. It's panic, fear of abandonment, fear of exposure, fear of losing control. Once stability returns, the behavior returns too. And this is why victims feel emotionally whiplashed. Hope, followed by devastation. Connection, followed by cruelty. The truth most people realize too late. This is the truth people don't want to accept. A narcissist doesn't change because they feel guilty. They change only when it benefits them, and only temporarily. Waiting for guilt is waiting for a language they do not speak. And the moment you stop waiting for their guilt is the moment you get your power back. Not because they changed, but because you finally understood the game. What real freedom looks like. Freedom doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from clarity, from recognizing patterns instead of promises, from trusting behavior over words, from withdrawing emotional fuel. When you stop feeding the false self, it cracks, and the person behind it is forced to face the emptiness they've been running from their entire life. That is not your responsibility to fix. Your responsibility is to protect your mind. Final reflection. If this video described someone in your life, you are not weak. You were manipulated. And awareness is not cruelty. It is self-respect. The narcissist may never feel guilty, but you no longer need their guilt to heal. You only need the truth. Stay aware, stay grounded, and never confuse guilt with control again.